And within financial services, at one end, there are a lot of AI pilots and simulation that are being widely utilized in service and retention queues.
Hello and welcome to this episode of TP.ai Talks. I'm Erin Broker, Vice President of Marketing here at TP. And today we're going to talk about the blueprint layer of the TP.ai Fab model. And to do that, we have our resident expert here, Himadri Sarkar. Welcome.
Erin, thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming. So can you just explain to us quickly what the blueprint layer consists of?
Sure. The blueprint layer is a pre-configured outcome-driven solution that embeds itself seamlessly within workflows, journeys, and operating model. And the way we have been able to drive its adoption across our clients is through a very safe, secure orchestration layer that is enabled by the right level of governance as well as compliance.
So what do companies prioritize when designing their blueprint layer?
That's a really good question. Efficiency and cost savings are definitely serve as the starting points. CX transformation acts as the next level of differentiator. But what truly matters is a long-term focus on a future-ready operating model. And as long as we are able to consult with our clients, collaborate and co-create, it's a win-win success for both our clients and us.
So tell me, with all the news about AI projects failing, why do so many companies get stuck in the pilot mode?
I believe pilots without the right level of enterprise integration would surely reach a stumbling block because pilots in isolation never drive the right level of benefits. That experimentation has to be carried out within a comprehensive operating model, which is backed by the right level of people, process, and technology designs, in my opinion.
So basically, it sounds like a lot of these projects are just not fully resourced to see the right outcomes. Would that be a fair statement?
They are either not resourced or they are not completely aligned to the overall organizational objective, as a result of which, even if a pilot is successful, it might not scale just because it didn't align with the overall organizational objectives.
How do you measure the success of the blueprint layer and how that's designed?
Well, the key measurement criteria are, like I said earlier, efficiency, cost savings, CX transformation. But the real success measurement, I believe, comes from the fact that if you're able to have benchmark KPIs that revolve around three core principles. One is the adoption, second is the value, and third, which is the most important, is scalability. And this aligns to your earlier question, Erin, that you were asking me, that why do pilots fail? Many a times the pilot might be successful in isolation, but just because it was not scalable, the project didn't really see the light of the day.
Can you share some specific examples, specific industries that are maybe excelling at this and just what you're seeing out there in the marketplace?
Sure. I think the first industry that comes into my mind, which is a growth focus generally across the world as well as for our organization, is financial services. And within financial services, at one end, there are a lot of AI pilots and simulation that are being widely utilized in service and retention queues. But more importantly, one of the use cases that we have also created, and it is gaining a lot of momentum across our financial services clients, is how using AI we can prevent fraud and fin crimes across the board. And last but not the least, there is a lot of secure wallet transactions that are also being looked at through AI to drive the right level of payment integrity across the wide range of products and services that our financial services firms have to offer. Now, retail is a very interesting industry. It always has been for me, because in retail, through AI, the way personalization engines are able to predict buying behavior and then offer very tailored product recommendations is phenomenal. We are all consumers of retail, and we see how AI can contextualize it to exactly our setting. Most of the times, I would say it's getting right. There is always some element of fine-tuning that is possible with AI. But that's just not with the consumers in retail, and which is what makes it interesting. Even at the store, AI is able to drive a lot of inventory analytics, because of which now inventory doesn't get wasted, and it helps improve the operating or the profitability margins. And you are aware and well versed with the fact that one of my closest industries that I'm very passionate about is healthcare. Healthcare is no exception when it comes to AI, just because the amount of AI-driven triaging and patient support that is being explored, I believe would set the trend for value-based care and population health management, which in today's times is so important, specifically in the post-COVID era. But more importantly, I think healthcare generally is a very stressful industry. And if AI or automation can free up some of the administrative tasks from the clinicians, then they truly would be able to concentrate and drive patient care, which is what their skills are meant for. So I feel that in combination, healthcare, retail, and financial services are the industries to be truly looking for in the next few years.
And for those that are struggling, be it specific general industries or specific companies, what advice would you give in terms of getting started?
That's actually a wonderful question. There are some organizations, some clients, and some industries that I speak to, and this is what I tell them. And we have been able to design think also many a times and solve these problems for them. We start off with the vertical blueprint layer, and with that we identify what are those use cases which are most relevant and pertinent to their setting in the short, medium, and long term. And we don't just stop there. With these use cases, we create a rough order of magnitude of savings and investment. And then we see how this can be very nicely tied with the AI microservices, which drive the right level of impact. And also how does it gets connected to their backend apps, which is what we call systems of records, which can be CRM, payment systems, and others. But also equally important is how does it align to the engagement layer, which can be a combination of voice and digital mediums, as well as the journey layer. And that journey layer could be an end user journey or a customer journey, both in a B2B or a B2C setup. When we use this kind of a framework, 9 out of 10 times, there is success guaranteed.
And a question about that, because we're reading now about studies that say 95% of AI projects fail. I think part of that is because they're done in-house without the help of experts. But what else would you attribute that to?
One is, of course, the expertise. But I think the expertise also depends upon the fact that how well, like I was saying earlier, it was aligned to the overall organizational objectives. Whether the organization at that specific point in time is even ready for the AI project to be led. Because many a times, AI shouldn't be looked upon as a technology solution. AI should be a solution that can only accelerate and proliferate the right kind of efficient and process design. So many a times, maybe organizations where it's just a 5% or a 95% failure rate or a 5% success rate are lacking that process and that experience design, which needs to be prioritized before really understanding what kind of AI solutions would fit it. And which is why the vertical blueprinting layer becomes so much more important. Because if you think about this layer, we are still not bringing AI microservices unless we are really sure which are those use cases which will drive the best bang for the buck.
Got it. So it sounds like some of those pilots are probably just not holistically, they're not taking a holistic approach.
You're absolutely
They're
right.
doing just little point experiments.
Yes.
Okay, so next I'd like to see where you're envisioning this going in the future. Where do you see the TP.ai Fab model going over the next 12 to 18 months?
Erin, it's a really interesting time because, in more and more organizations globally are realizing that if customer journeys are nonlinear, then shouldn't processes be nonlinear too? And with that awakening, they're starting on a mission to redefine the way traditional processes were made. And when you start redefining, you come across infinite permutation combination in terms of how granular you can go to architect not only a vertical blueprint, but also the AI orchestration layer and the foundational layer that comes along with it. I think that is one phenomena that I'm strongly observing, I'm strongly consulting with our clients. And that requires a very detailed solution blueprinting exercise along the trifecta of people, process, and technology, but also in some organizations, the policies, because the policies could impact the way processes are defined too. And of course, all of this needs to come with the right level of business case estimation, because if there is not monies to be made, then what's the point of driving these kind of interventions? Because these require humongous amount of effort. What complements this movement in the next 12 to 18 to 24 months is also the way we are exploring and unlocking additional AI opportunities beyond core services, which is where we have data services, which is a combination of data annotation and labeling, data engineering, and data analytics. I think all of this would really complement the modularity in the use cases across industry value chains that we are striving towards.
Yeah, I love that you said use case modularity because it's so true. Having done this for, as a company for more than 4 decades, we have so many use cases and success stories that we can learn from and apply to new clients or clients that want to do something a different way. So, that knowledge base is really helpful when helping to get a client to accelerate whatever outcome they're looking for.
Erin, you're spot on. I think that's really our TP strength. We, over the last 47 years of our inception, our understanding of processes across industries, across lines of businesses, across service, sales, collections, is so deep that we are able to observe the inherent commonalities that exist across processes, and we are able to create reusable codes or reusable blueprints that are able to not only reduce implementation time, but save implementation dollars and exponentially drive speed to value. So very excited for the times that the times that are ahead of us.
Yes, because for a company trying to do it on their own, they don't have that history and that knowledge. So we can probably shortcut that time significantly versus a company doing it in-house themselves.
Agree, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We love your insights. And thank you for joining us, and keep an eye out for the next episode of TP.ai Talks. Take care.